I've been trying to think about how to talk about what's going on in the church right now. I know there are a lot of voices out there. I know that you've heard a lot of people talking about the crisis in the church, and it really is a crisis. I've heard people compare it to some of the big heresies back in the day, even all the way back to the Arian heresy, where people were questioning what is the nature of Jesus, his divinity, his humanity. And in one way, while this might not seem like that kind of a crisis, we're not redefining who God is. We're redefining who we are. And I think that is what makes this such a huge crisis. Who we are is not just who we define ourselves to be. That's, we hear a lot of people talking about, you are who you say you are. You're self-identifying. People talking about what they self-identify as. We are who God created us to be. And of course, no one is perfect because we have the sinful nature. But down in our core, we are who God created us to be. And so that I think that's a big part of the crisis that we're going through right now. And all of the abuse that's happening, so much of it comes out of who we identify ourselves to be. What is a priest supposed to be? Who is a priest supposed to be? And what is a priest supposed to do? How is a priest supposed to live? I think that because this question of who we are and how we see ourselves has been up in the air for so long, I think that's one of the reasons why so much has remained hidden in this crisis. Because if the definition of what a priest is supposed to be, how they're supposed to live, what expectations are on them, is up in the air. When we heard the story of the two priests that were caught in the car together doing, what priests should not be doing with each other, that is an issue of their identity, who they are, who they're saying they are, what the expectations on a priest are. That is, unfortunately for too many people, that is up in the air. And I think that we need to get back to what Christ is calling us to as Christians, as Catholics, the lifestyle that we are supposed to live, the discipline that we're supposed to have. The discipline of chastity is so important today, and we really need to understand what that means. I'm not a theologian, I'm not a philosopher, and so I'm not going to go into depth. I'll find some good resources and link them down in the description. But we need to return to what God is calling us to be, who God is calling us to be. The most important thing that we need to remember in this crisis and every day is that God is calling each of us to be holy. And God is calling each of us to lift each other up, to hold each other accountable, and to help each other to live as holy a life as we can. I encourage you, as much as you feel comfortable, if you have a good relationship with your priest, encourage them to live a holy life. Be as loving as you can. Always be loving and charitable, but encourage them to live a holy life, and encourage them whenever you see them living a holy life. If you see your priest living out his vocation in a holy and humble and loving way, encourage that. Encourage them. How much should we be calling our priests out when we see them falling short? I don't know. I definitely can't say that. That is something that, for the most part, I would not feel comfortable doing. But if you're close to your priest and you feel comfortable calling your priest out when he falls short or says something that you're not really sure about, in a loving way, if you feel like that is what you're called to, we should be able to call our priests out, not to condemn them, but to encourage them to continue to seek a life of holiness. I've been so encouraged by my work with the Coming Home Network because of all of the stories that we're able to share, of stories of how people have come to see a deeper life of holiness. in themselves and in others. And this is why we're here on this earth. We're here to grow in holiness. We're here to grow closer to Christ, and we're here to become more like Christ, not through our own strength, but through the strength that Christ gives us, and through finding a deeper relationship with Him every day. It is that relationship with Christ that will lead us to a deeper life of holiness. Next week, I'm going to put up a video with the associate priest at my parish, Father David, and some of his thoughts and speaking from his heart about what is going on in the church right now. I'm realizing every day that I need to constantly be bringing my life, my actions, what I'm doing, and what I want to do. I need to bring it all to God, and I need to say, God, what do you want to do with my life? How am I supposed to live out my life? How am I supposed to glorify you? I'm not looking for a bolt of lightning out of the sky, and I'm not looking to say, this is what I'm doing, God, I want you to bless it. But every day I need to go to God. I need to say, how am I doing? What can I do today to bring you glory? I'm so thankful for this platform to be able to share my story, to be able to share other stories, both on this channel and on the Coming Home Network channel. I'm so thankful for you for being on this journey with me, and I welcome you to continue to be on this adventure. I encourage you to find ways that God can use you, that God can work through your life, that you can use your gifts to glorify God, to bring others closer to Him, and to share the beauty of what God is doing in your life with those around you. One of the other projects that I'm working on that I've talked a couple of times about is Nerdy Catholic Tees. I don't know why this idea of being a nerdy Catholic continues to come back to me, and I don't know how that will help or hinder, or we'll see, the future of this channel. There's something that I want to do that's going to be both nerdy and Catholic. I in so many areas of my life I'm a nerd and a geek, and so I'm still working on figuring out how that plays into this. I'm really curious, do you consider yourself a nerdy Catholic? What are some ways that being a nerd and being a Catholic plays together in your life? I'd love to hear some of your stories in the comments below. One of the other little projects that I'm working on is Nerdy Catholic Tees. And this is something that I've started with a coworker. I've mentioned it before in some other videos. Just coming up with these quirky little sayings, putting them on t-shirts, and selling them. We've sold, I think at least a couple hundred so far, and I know that people enjoy them. People are ordering them. You can check that out at nerdycatholictees.com. Just little ways that we can use the gifts that we have to bring joy, to bring some smiles even and laughter into people's lives. And so trying to figure out ways that Nerdy Catholic Tees can interact with that Nerdy Catholic channel. But I'm still working on it. I'm still figuring it out. As I said, I welcome you on this journey, on this adventure with me. And, we'll see where God continues to take us in our lives and, in the stuff that we put out. I want to become more involved in the Catholic creative community, the Catholic YouTube community, see how we can all work together to help each other out, to help each other grow, and to help each other learn what God is doing in our lives and what we can do with each other to spread the beauty of the Catholic Church, which is why we're here. You can watch another video right here. You can subscribe and become a part of this wonderful community right there. And check out, as I said, Nerdy Catholic Tees to find your own nerdy Catholic swag. So God bless, and I'll see you next time.